Today I've got for you 3 tofu recipes that I believe everyone will enjoy. We all know someone who cannot stand tofu, and for me that's my mum, but these 3 recipes changed her mind. If you're new here, my name is George and I post a new cooking video every Wednesday and Sunday, so be sure to subscribe and let's get started. First up, let's make this shredded Mexican tofu that even the tofu haters will enjoy. First things first, the tofu. I've got an extra firm variety here. If you're going to use a firm variety, then just make sure to press it first, as we want it to get nice and crispy. Now you've got 2 options. You can either grate the tofu or you can thinly slice it. I'm going to be going for the thinly sliced option. So I've just cut the tofu into 4 sort of batons and we're going to thinly slice each one. Doing this is going to mean there's going to be more surface area to get nice and crispy and for the seasonings and sauce to latch onto. I love to use this tofu in tacos, burrito bowls, quesadillas, all that sort of thing. Then just get your tofu into a bowl. Start by adding just a teaspoon of olive oil and we're going to toss to coat. Or you can use your hand and just give it a little mix. Don't worry if the tofu starts to break up, that's absolutely fine. It's just more surface area to get crispy. And then to this we're adding a fairly generic sort of Mexican seasoning. This has cumin, smoked paprika, coriander, chili, that sort of thing. Also going to add a crack of black pepper and a little sprinkling of salt. Then to help it get crispy, I'm going to add some cornflour and just give that a good toss to get it all coated in the seasonings. So I'm going to cook this in the air fryer, but I'll provide instructions in the recipes for if you want to pan fry it or oven roast it. We'll just spread the tofu out nice and evenly so it's all going to get lovely and crispy. We'll just add a little extra drizzle of olive oil, which is of course going to help it fry up nicely. And then that can go in the air fryer while we prepare the sauce. For the sauce or glaze, we're going to start with a teaspoon of lovely smoky chipotle paste, then tomato puree. We're going to add 2 acidic ingredients, starting with orange juice, which goes really well with the chipotle. And then we'll also add the juice of half a lime. Acidity will bring out the other ingredients, balance the flavors, and just add a really nice sort of twang to the overall dish. A little maple syrup for sweetness and to help caramelize the tofu. I'm then going to add a little touch of liquid smoke. This is optional, but adds a really nice, well, smoky flavor, of course, which is great with the Mexican spices. We're then going to add about a teaspoon of light soy sauce for seasoning, the sort of salty, lovely umami flavor. And then a sprinkling of oregano. If you can get Mexican oregano, then that's great. But if not, don't worry, I've just got some regular sort of Mediterranean oregano. And that is everything. Just give it a whisk and that is going to be a delicious saucy glaze for the tofu, which we'll add towards the end of the cooking process. It smells absolutely delicious. We've got some nice caramelization and crunchy bits on here, so we're going to pour over our glaze. And then just mix the tofu through the sauce so it's all nice and coated, and then we'll return it to the air fryer to get crispy, caramelized, and almost sticky. And there you go, you've got the most delicious, sticky, smoky, caramelized Mexican style tofu. You've got crispy and caramelized bits of tofu, and then you've got softer, saucier bits as well for a really nice variety in texture. That is some next level tofu. If you give that to someone and they don't enjoy it, then something is clearly wrong with them. It's got a lovely smoky and sweet flavor, and then you've got a sort of a background note from the ground spices in the Mexican spice mix and the herbs like oregano, and then a hint of orange, which is just really delicious. Texture-wise, crispy, caramelized. You do get some soft bits as well for a bit of variety. Really tasty. Give this Mexican shredded tofu a go and let me know what you think. Next up is this sesame glazed sticky tofu that is completely irresistible. Just wanted to quickly interrupt myself and let you know that I am giving away a free Patreon membership, and it's also going to be the highest tier. And this will give you early access to my YouTube videos, recipe PDFs, bonus content, and lots of other good stuff. All you have to do is become a free member. You can scan this QR code, or there'll be a link in the description box. This video is going live on Wednesday, and I'll let you know who the winner is this Sunday. Also, if you're already a paid Patreon member, first of all, a massive thank you, and second of all, I will enter you into the competition so you can get 3 months free if you do win. Okay, back to the video. So we're once again starting with an extra firm block of tofu, and this time we're going to tear it into bite-sized chunks. This is once again increasing the surface area for more delicious crispiness. It's also going to provide this sort of rough edge on the tofu, which the sauce is going to cling on to. And try to get your pieces roughly the same size so that they all cook evenly. You're welcome to simply cube the tofu, but personally, I think this just takes it to another level of deliciousness. And then to the tofu, again, we're going to add a little drizzle of olive oil. You only need a little just to help the spices and the starch stick to the tofu. You can leave it out, and if the tofu is a little bit wet, then it should stick okay. This time, instead of corn flour, I'm going to use arrowroot powder, which I find doesn't give quite as much of a sort of chalky texture that you can get with corn flour, and it does get the tofu just as crispy. Also adding a 1/4 teaspoon of turmeric just to give it a really nice golden color. Small pinch of salt because we're going to be adding soy sauce later on, and then a really good grating of black pepper to give it a really nice spicy kick. And then using your hands, lightly toss the tofu through the turmeric and the arrowroot powder and seasonings, just so that you don't break it up too much. I'm using the air fryer again, but I'm going to put in the crisper basket this time. You can also pan fry this or use the oven, and I'll provide instructions in the recipes. And then just pour in your tofu. If you can, get it so that each piece of tofu has space around it, meaning that the hot air is going to get to all sides of it so that it gets extra crispy. And now we'll get on with the sticky, fragrant sauce. We're starting off with some aromatics. I've just got some spring onions here, and I'm just going to top and tail them. Then the white part is going to be lightly fried, so we're just going to finely dice it. This part tends to be a bit firmer and oniony than the top green part. As always, got my little mise en place bowls. The green part we're going to use for a garnish, and you could just slice them on an angle, or for a really nice garnish, get yourself a bowl of ice water, and then you just want to slice it as thinly as possible lengthways into these really thin little ribbons. And then just dunk them into your ice water, and they're going to go extra crispy and almost sort of twirl up, and they're going to look really good on top of your sticky tofu. Also using some ginger. I'm just going to use a teaspoon to remove the skin. Most definitely the easiest way to do it. And I'm just going to finely chop it. Using a fairly large piece of ginger here, so it's got a really nice fresh fiery kick of ginger. Sometimes I forget just how spicy ginger actually is. And the garlic will just sort of finely chop as well. We don't need to go really fine, or else it will just burn as soon as it hits the oil. Somewhere in between finely chopped and roughly chopped, I would say. Then for the wet ingredients, we're using some light soy sauce. Sorry if you can hear Poppy having her dinner in the background, but she's hungry. Then some maple syrup. Now, if you think that we're using a lot of maple syrup in these recipes, then you should see me when I eat pancakes. But yeah, in reality, these recipes are less about health and more about making them as delicious as possible to get people converted onto tofu. Not that we have to convert them onto tofu, we can just leave them be and enjoy all the tofu for ourselves. But it's just healthy being able to cook the same meal for everyone. I'm going to use pineapple juice, but you could use orange juice if you liked. Just adds a really nice flavor. Sesame oil for that lovely toasty, nutty flavor. And then 1 teaspoon of corn flour to thicken and give it a lovely glossy texture. So the tofu's had 10 minutes in the air fryer, and it's nice and golden, and it has little crispy edges as well. You want to be careful when air frying extra firm tofu, as it's really easy to dry it out. So as soon as it's got some good color on it, then I tend to stop cooking it. And it's still nice and moist and juicy inside. So to make the lovely sweet sticky sauce, we're going to heat up a frying pan over a medium-high heat. We'll then add in about a tablespoon of oil and get it nice and hot. And then once that oil is hot, we can add in our aromatics, starting with the ginger, the white part of the spring onion, and the minced garlic. We'll just fry this over a high heat so that it releases its beautiful aromatic flavor, and there's maybe a little bit of color, just sort of a light golden color on the garlic, and then we'll add in the sauce. I'm starting to see a touch of color on some of the garlic, so I'm going to add in that sauce. I'm also going to add just a few toasted sesame seeds, and I'll keep a few to go on top as well. So that is getting really nice and thick. I'm just going to let it down just a little bit with some water. You can really choose how thick you want this to be, whether you want it to be more saucy or you want it just to sort of coat the tofu. It's really up to you. That's looking really nice. So I'm going to add in that golden tofu and just stir to coat. That looks absolutely incredible. It's sticky, it's glossy. There is no way someone's not going to like that. So I've just drained off the spring onions from the ice water and they've gone wonderfully curly. This is a really nice garnish. I'll just give them a little pat dry. We'll finish this off with a few extra toasted sesame seeds. They contrast really nicely with the sort of sweet, sticky sauce. Some of those spring onions and a nice squeeze of lime juice to contrast with the sweetness. Wow. Guys, that is so good. Incredible flavor. That squeeze of lime at the end really does just sort of lighten it up a bit and cuts through the sweetness. This sticky sesame tofu is sweet, it's nutty, it's got a lovely sort of tangy flavor from the pineapple juice, and then you get the aromatic flavors coming from the ginger, the garlic, and the spring onion. Super delicious. Serve this up to a tofu hater and I'm sure they'll be converted. It would be great on a bed of rice with some stir-fried vegetables, with some noodles, or simply on its own. It is so addictively good. You guys are gonna love it. And the last recipe doesn't actually require any cooking, but you can use it in so many different dishes. It's this tofu ricotta. For the final recipe, we do not need extra firm tofu. So I've just got this one that comes in the sort of water bath. This one says super firm, but it is definitely not. It's definitely just the regular sort of firm tofu, fairly spongy. I'll just drain that off. Great thing about this recipe is it all just goes into the food processor. Super simple. Just tear this into nice big chunks and the food processor will deal with it. So now we'll just add a bunch of ingredients that are going to turn this plain tofu into a sort of tofu ricotta vibe. Starting with the zest of one lemon. That's going to add a nice sort of freshness and tang that you would get with regular dairy ricotta. I like it really lemony, so adding the zest as well as the juice is going to achieve that. Get that all in there. And then for even more tang and a little salty umami-ness, I've got some miso, white miso. If you're going to use a darker miso, then just add a little less. We're then going to add some nutritional yeast. That's going to add a lovely cheesy flavor. Let's start with 2 tablespoons. 1 teaspoon of dried thyme and a teaspoon of oregano. Did that. Next up, a sort of medium-sized garlic clove. I don't want it to be too strong, so I'm just going to zest that in. Ricotta is of course cheese, so it's quite high in fat. So I'm going to add a good maybe 2 or 3 tablespoons of olive oil for that really sort of luxurious mouthfeel. Lastly, a nice grating of black pepper. And I think we've got everything in there. I like lots of black pepper personally. And we'll just blend that into a ricotta-like texture or sort of like wet sand. Just gonna give it a quick taste. It's nearly there, just needs a little bit more miso, I think. Just going to add a ½ teaspoon of miso extra. Wee wee's puppy. I'm also going to add just a little bit more nutritional yeast for that lovely cheesy flavor. And some black pepper, because I love it. And that should be perfect for me. Beautifully light and creamy. So delicious. Okay, here we go. Let's give this a taste. It truly does not taste like tofu anymore. It's just cheesy, creamy, and slightly tangy. Absolutely delicious. Now, in terms of what to use this for, I like to spread it on toast, and then you can put on some sauteed mushrooms, or in summer, some lovely fresh tomatoes. You can also add some plant-based milk to it, make it a bit runnier, and then use it as your bechamel in a lasagna. It's also great in large pasta shells and then baked in a rich tomato sauce, or you can use it in cannelloni, that's really good. What else can we use it for? We can use it as like a dip, like hummus, dip crisps, carrots, cucumber, that sort of thing into it. That's really good. So many uses for it. I'm sure I'm forgetting some of them. It's high protein, it's delicious. Give it a go. Thank you for watching. For some more tofu recipes, check out this video.